welcome to this week's Future Talk. I'm Liz Buchanan and I'm a digital communications expert, but I'm more excitedly, I'm joined by Shara Evans, and we are talking all things about life during post-coronavirus and what technology we will be living with. So welcome, Shara.
Hello, Liz, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today.
It's exciting. So what are we going to talk about this week?
Today, we're going to talk about a cybercrime and cyber fraud scheme that is happening right now. And wow. I personally was a target of this, and I managed to figure out that it was actually a fraud and have, at least for myself, nipped it in the bud. But I want to share my experience with the audience, and in particular with keynote speakers and other people in the events industry, because that is who this scheme is targeting, and it involves a fake charity. So let me tell you the story of what happened. Okay, it started on the 10th of July, and I got an email through my website for my booking form about an event that was taking place in February next year in Hong Kong. And it involved a charity for children, which of course touches my heart. And apparently I had come to the attention of the Hong Kong billionaire supposedly behind this charity. So I went to look at the website, and at a cursory glance, it seemed to be legitimate. I did a search on the gentleman who is the purported chair of the charity and saw that he indeed was on the Forbes list as the 65th richest man in the world. And I thought, well, how did I come to his attention? Hong Kong, maybe a problem with coronavirus and travel, may also be a problem because of geopolitical tensions between Australia, US, China, and so on. But hey, happy dance, somebody wants to hire a speaker at a time when there aren't a whole lot of events happening. So let's explore this a little bit. So I responded back to the web query with my typical set of questions that I would ask for any event planner to understand their objectives and goals and what they need from me, but also a whole bunch of things related to coronavirus and travel restrictions, and do they have plans for a virtual event, just in case there are problems with travel getting to and from either country or long quarantines and so on. Next, 2 days later, so this was the 10th of July, so it's very recent. 2 days later, I had a response from the person who said he was the legal chair of the charity, and he had a very common Chinese name, the equivalent of Joe Smith in English. So I tried to look him up, but couldn't find anything about him. But nonetheless, I responded, and I looked at this letter that they offered me, and the first thing I thought was, wow, that's a lot of money that they're offering me. They want me for 2 days, which is fine. So maybe they figured my speaker fee was X and they doubled the offer. But in addition to my speaker fee, there were some other things that really set my radar off. First off, they wanted me to, they offered to fly me and up to 6 of my companions first class to Hong Kong, staying in a 5-star luxury hotel. And I thought, 6 companions? My gosh, I'm not Kim Kardashian. I don't need an entourage. The next thing that set me off, that really sent my radar bells going, was that they wanted me to present a donation check for $75,000 US to be paid for by the purported chairman billionaire, and for me to facilitate the payment as we're doing part of the ceremony. And that really set my alarm bells going. Hang on a second, I'm not going to take $75,000 from even a legitimate charity, put it through my bank accounts, and then turn around and write another check. I mean, first of all, there's the taxes that I pay on it, there's the currency conversion, there's everything else. And the way that the offer was worded just set me thinking, this isn't quite right. So I sent a message back saying, hey, thanks for your generous offer. let's set up a video call to discuss. I've got a whole bunch of questions and it would be much easier to just ask them in person, and I'd like to meet you and get to say hello. Never heard back after, you know, a day or so, where they were real quick right on the spot. So I decided to do some investigating. First thing I did, Liz, was I found the Hong Kong government website where you can look up charities, and I used every variation of the charity name and could not find the charity listed. So big red flag. Then I did a domain lookup of the domain, and the charity was supposedly established in 2015, but the domain was only registered on the 29th of June in this year. So of course, more alarm bells. So this was late at night, a couple of days later, after not hearing back and sending a nice reminder email. So then the next morning, I woke up and decided to do a deeper search, and let me show you what I found. I'm just going to share my screen for a moment. And as you can see, this is actually the website of the company that is owned by the Hong Kong billionaire, and they very clearly, as a banner on their home page, even today, say that this charity has no affiliation with them or with the gentleman in question, and that they've reported it to the Hong Kong police. So guess what I did after I saw that?
What did you do?
Well, first phone call I made was to the Australian Federal Police to report what was going on, and also asked them for advice about how to proceed, because I suspected that this was some kind of cybercrime. I mean, at the very least, it's a fake charity, but I think there's some kind of either money laundering or some kind of other scam involved with all of this.
Yeah.
And they said that the best thing to do is to report it to the ACCC Scam Watch. So I filled out a complete report and gave them permission to share with other government agencies. And they also said you can share it with Hong Kong police. I decided not to do that, but I did write to the company and advise them that the scam was targeted towards keynote speakers. So moral of this story, Liz, is that if you get an offer that seems too good to be true, or something in the offer just doesn't seem quite right, you've got to do your due diligence. Even if things look like it may be legitimate, if your intuition starts to scream out to you that there's just something not right, or an offer just seems over the top too generous, it probably is a scam. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in this day and age, there's too many hackers, scammers out there, and they're taking advantage of people who potentially, well, everyone is suffering, but they're taking advantage of people who are really, really suffering, and hoping that their aim to get money can give them in for scamming them. So it's really, really sad, but it's happening more and more, and we've just got to be careful when we read emails before we click on links, that we've got to research it. Totally agree.
Absolutely. And, the thing about this one was that the initial email through my website looked like a legitimate speaking request, and on a, you know, a not too deep scan of the website of the charity, it looked legitimate. But then as I dug deeper and deeper and deeper, I started to find things that made me more and more suspicious. And I think we just all need to be, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt, but be suspicious.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good warning for everybody, really, is be aware and do diligence. Perfect. But we've run out of time.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk next week. Thanks, Liz.
Beautiful. Thanks, Shara.